Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. Of course it is that time of the week once again, a Friday, when we get the brand new set of weekly challenges and rewards. And when it comes to this week, we do have a very awesome brand new special event, which on the surface looks very typical, but as we dig deeper into it, there's a very special twist. Anyway, let's get into it. So here is an overview for May week 2. This will end on the 15th of May 2025 at midnight. As for event number 1, that is at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca for the American FR Challenge 550. We'll then move over to Willow Springs International Raceway on the streets of Willow Springs for the Silvia Sisters. Then we get into the new special event this week at Tokyo Expressway East Clockwise for the Honda Civic 1 Make, featuring a very awesome twist to it. More on that one later. We then have the Hypercar Parade at Interlagos, and we finish off at the Red Bull Ring with the WTC 700. As for your rewards this week, 1 event is 100k, 3 events is 200k, and 5 events is a 6-star roulette ticket, possibly the best reward from any of these weekly challenges. Let's dig in then. Event number 1 of the week is WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca and the American FR Challenge 550. Of course, aimed at American cars with an FR drivetrain layout around 550 pp. And of course, as always, I will run it on the hardest difficulty possible and stick as close to possible to any recommendations. My car of choice here would be the Shelby Cobra, which worked very nicely for this 2-lap sprint race. So let's get into it then. As mentioned, it's a 2-lap sprint race with 10 cars total, 9 AI in front of you, made up of a bunch of classic and sometimes a little bit more modern American machinery, but mainly made up of the older stuff. Now, in terms of the cars themselves that we're up against, the majority of them are very beatable. I've always mentioned this, but the AI just cannot seem to drive high-powered classic American muscle cars, and it's really on show here. Now, going on to the end of lap 1, I did end up with a bit of a roadblock in front of me as the Challenger and the Camaro decided to battle it out, and I just couldn't find my way through. Eventually we would, as we overtake the Camaro first, getting ourselves up into P4, and then we have to go ahead and try and get past the Challenger, which is definitely one of the better cars we're going to come up against in this race. We get a decent exit from the final corner and power down the straight, taking 2 in this single straight. Then we have to move on to possibly the most notorious car of these type of events. That is the Viper GTS, but thankfully we got around him nice and easy. At that point we grew our lead and took the finish line with a pretty easy first place. That's tick number 1 of the week. In terms of the payout for this one, 15,000 credits with the clean race bonus. Unfortunately, very low paying due to being a day 1 event, but we do get 100k to top us up. On to the second event for the week then. This is Willow Springs International Raceway with the Streets of Willow Springs layout. This is for the Silvia Sisters, which pits a bunch of different generations of Nissan Silvia up against each other. Once again, there is no specified PP limit. However, the recommendation is around about 500, but I would say you should go slightly over that. My car of choice would be one of the S14 Silvias. Now, getting into it, this is a very typical race. We're going to start P10 on a 12-car grid. There's going to be 3 laps up ahead of us of the Streets of Willow Springs, a very small and technical layout of the Willow Springs circuit. Overall though, I really don't like this track too much. There's just no real flow here, and I've just never really got to grips with it. And of course, like all Willow Springs layouts, if something goes wrong and you end up in the desert, then you're going to be there for a very long time until it eventually resets you. So unfortunately, not the most fun race, and I would say probably not the best place to get all the Silvias racing together. I much prefer the Deep Forest event for these things. Now, in terms of the event itself though, honestly, I would say 500 pp just isn't enough. That is mainly because of how, I guess, spread out the grid is. You'll find that the lead Silvia will typically be way up the road, so eventually chasing him down with a under 500 pp car, you're probably not going to have too much of a chance. My car sits around about 540 for this one. We eventually got ourselves into the lead and went to pull out a decent enough lead of a few seconds as we cross the line and take victory. That is going to give us our second tick of the week. Now, of course, there's no bonus reward on top of this one. That will come in the next event. As for the payout, 52,500 credits for 3 laps. Okay, so moving on to the next event. This is the special event for this week. It's at Tokyo Expressway East clockwise for the Honda Civic 1 make. Of course, a returning special event, but this time it has a very, very unique twist that Polyphony have never ever done before when it comes to Gran Turismo 7. So let's look at the finer details. It's a 4-lap sprint race. It's going to be a total of 20 cars on the grid, and we're going to start in 12th position. So again, something seems a little bit different there, that we're not starting right at the back and chasing them down. Of course, regulations are all of the different generations of Honda Civic in game. Now, as for the rewards, first place is 85k, second place is 51k, and third place is 34k. Your main rival cars are made up of a bunch of different Honda Civics, from the EF, EGs, EKs, and of course more. Car restrictions, BOP is off, must be a garage car, and car settings are allowed. There's no mechanical damage and no penalties for shortcuts or wall collisions. Not like you can really do a shortcut here at Tokyo Expressway, it's just far too enclosed. My car of choice would be, of course, the latest generation of Honda Civic Type R, featuring the unique spoon livery. Now, in terms of the race itself, we're starting in P12 out of 20 over this 4-lap sprint race, and honestly, nothing really seems out of the ordinary at first. You've got a bunch of Civics in front of you and a few behind you, so it looks like they've just kind of mixed it up. You'll also notice that there is weather enabled on this one, and it will sort of drop between both wet and dry conditions, so you kind of have to keep your wits about you on the road. You're going to have to wait a little bit longer for the twist just yet. Anyway, as for the race itself, we were just battling away with the different packs of Honda Civics. It does get a rather bit spread out. You'll kind of go from group to group to group. Nothing really out of the ordinary here. Again, the track might get faster at times and then get slower if more rain comes in. I'm assuming that it's not going to be set in stone, and it's pretty randomised to how wet it's going to be at a specific time. On to lap 3 then, we are continuing our charge through the grid, making our way up to this grouping of EF Civics, and we're going to continue to battle it out here in some Kanjo style street racing. However, only a few corners later, we're trying to get ourselves in a podium position for P3, and all of a sudden there's a Toyota Hiace van that is littering the track in P20. Yet it turns out that Polyphony, for the first time in GT7 history, have actually turned on NPC traffic type vehicles to act as rolling roadblocks and really mix it up during this street race. And as you can see, it's up to you and the AI to try and find your way through. We actually get the lead in a very cheesy way, thanks to the Toyota Prius holding up the leader there. We managed to get it down the inside and inherit the lead. In the end, we go on to have a very, very close finish as the EG Civic almost catches us, kind of blocking him off there as we cross the line and eventually, and only just, take P1. That is going to be tick number 3 of the week. In terms of the payout, it's not too bad. 127,500 credits for a 4-lap sprint. And of course, on top of that, we do get a little extra bonus of 200,000 credits. And we also get our 3-star daily ticket. So after all of that momentum and excitement from the special event, unfortunately it's the complete opposite with the Hypercar Parade at Interlagos. Whilst this could have been incredible due to the sheer amount of ridiculous and expensive machinery, unfortunately the hint's in the name. This is very much a parade and there's a sheer lack of proper on-track racing and action here. So I kind of broke my rule and just went to cheese it to get this one done and dusted. I picked the Ford GT with the Maverick engine swap on racing soft tyres. Now, in terms of the event itself, it's a 16 car grid, 15 AI over a 7-lap sprint race, and again, as I mentioned, it is very much a parade type event. There's a lot of gaps between vehicles and you're just picking them off one by one. There's really nothing in terms of proper on-track action. You overtake one, you go to the next, rinse and repeat until you get in first place and cruise off into the distance. Don't really expect any of the AI to put up much of a fight, honestly. They'll probably just stay in formation as you go through them. They're not really going to do much in terms of blocking, and they're not really competitive whatsoever. It really is a mixed bag of hypercars over the years, and unfortunately in their attempt to balance it out, a lot of the faster cars just sort of cruise around, and again, they're easy pickings. In the end, we managed to build up a 52 to 53 second lead, which is ridiculous over that 7-lap period. That gives us tick number 4 of the week, and of course another nice easy first place. 142,500 credits for that one, and another 18.6 miles covered. So moving on to the final event of the week, this is at Red Bull Ring, and it's the WTC 700, of course limited to 700 pp. Now most of your Le Mans builds and such will probably work here. It's again a very fast type track, much more in terms of a top speed track than it is tight and technical. Of course most of the AI are going to be made up of Group 4s, so I thought I'd go ahead and join them with my Alpha 155 DTM. Now in terms of my strategy, since we have a full 20 car grid, we're starting at the back and it's a 10-lap race with tyres and fuel enabled, I went for the racing mediums and planned to do a fuel mix 6 strategy to go as deep as possible into the race, as I knew I'd have the pace and the grip to get through, and then go ahead and boost the engine up to fuel mix 1 just to finish off the event. Now one thing you do need to keep your eye on is the weather radar, as at first it seems very bright and very cheery, however very quickly it can become very greyed over and rain can possibly come in. Again, I don't think it's set in stone. I think the chance of having rain is there, but it doesn't always necessarily come in. So I fully recommend, if you need to, get yourself a set of intermediates and wets, just in case the rain does decide to then, fall. For me, it would be lap 3 where all of the rain started to look like it was coming in. I kept my eye on the weather radar, had it zoomed out to 50 miles and nothing was approaching just yet. I got myself up into P2 and then began the hard charge to go ahead and pull down the leader to hopefully get the lead. By the time we got to lap 6, we started to see a little bit of rain coming in, and I would also inherit the lead as the Supra on the softs would box in at the end of lap 6. Now at this point, I'm just monitoring that weather, I'm taking my time on my 7th lap, and I'm getting ready to do my pit stop. As you can see though, there wasn't really any rain coming and it would pass over very quickly. So at this point, I've got my strategy in my head. I'm going to get another fresh set of racing mediums and I'm going to fill the car up just slightly over where the notch is, just to ensure I've got enough fuel and I can run fuel mix 1 until the end of the event. So we've got the racing mediums ready. We're going to get a fresh set of tyres, probably lose the lead to the Supra, which again has pitted already and is on the softs, so we will probably end up maintaining the gap. As for the rest of the field, they're also going to box in mainly on this lap as well. Most of those are running the hard tyres. So we pull into the pit box, off comes the tyres and on goes the fresh set of racing mediums, in goes the fuel, and again we're just going to go slightly over the little notch just so we can run it at fuel mix 1 and just ensure that we've got enough fuel to get us to the end. Of course, as expected, we do lose P1 as the Supra goes through, and of course now is the time to go ahead and charge him down to get ourselves into P1 on track, and we would do that towards the end of lap 8 as we go around the outside of the Supra, and then we're never going to ever look back. As you can see, by the end of the event we build up a lead of over 18 seconds from the Supra, running in fuel mix 1, just enough fuel there at the end, and thankfully no rain to mess up our strategy. That's tick number 5 of the week. Now unfortunately we didn't get the clean race bonus here, so we only take away 115,000 credits, but of course we do have the 6-star roulette ticket, which does give us some of the best prizes in game. So it's time to open up our rewards for this week. We'll start off with our daily driving marathon ticket, which unfortunately was a 3-star, and that is probably the worst possible ticket you can ever get. As you can see, we've got 1 million credits in there, 100k and the BMW, and we're actually going to get incredibly lucky here. Somehow the gods are looking down upon me as I end up getting a completely free M6 GT3 Endurance. No complaints there, nice one. Let's move on to the rest then. We've got 100,000 credits. Of course, this is for completing one single event this week. Then we of course move over to 200,000 credits. Now this is going to be a nice little extra boost for us for completing 3 of the events for this week. That is going to take our credit balance up to just over 63,600,000 credits. And then of course we have to open up the final one of the week, which is a 6-star roulette ticket reward, and again this can give you the best possible prizes in game. So let's have a look what's on offer. We do have a couple of VGT vehicles there, 100,000 credits. Overall we want one of the cars, and we're probably going to get my favorite of the two. This is a seriously cool bit of kit. This is the Jaguar VGT SV worth 1 million credits, so not too bad for only about 40 minutes minutes of my time. And there we go, that is this set of weekly challenges. Let me know what you thought of the special event. I thought that had a seriously cool twist, and overall I really enjoyed this set. I think it was a very quick set for the rewards we're getting, but let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Huge thank you to all of my channel members on screen now, and a huge thank you to you guys watching at home. I hope you have a great, fantastic start to your weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care guys, peace.